That snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
So that was that night. This was like night 2. So night 3 was when people started coming into town. So that was the ping pong night. And I saw with my own eyes the end of Kirk Cousins, Falcons era. Like I saw it, right in front of my eyes. It was kind of crazy to see what happened. So Kirk Cousins, obviously earlier in the week, it came out that Kirk Cousins was hurt in the middle of the season for the Falcons, and he got hurt when the Falcons losing streak started. So when they lost to the Saints in New Orleans, and it was like a game that they shouldn't have really lost, but you're like, okay, it's a rivalry game. The Saints are fresh off of, the entire Rizzy ordeal. So they got a little high with the interim coach and stuff like that, and they got the juices going. You get it. And then they lost again, and then they lost again, and then they lost again. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? They eventually finally switched to Michael Penix at the end of the season, but it was too little too late at that point. And yeah, end the season with 2 tough losses, one in Washington and then one at home to the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young, who was going crazy at that point of the year. Shout out to Rod Wave for turning around the season. Anyways, regardless, so Kirk revealed that he was hurt, and people were like, why would you do that to the Falcons, bro? You were so scared of your starting job because you had the number 8 pick behind you. But also, what is up with the coaches that didn't see that you were hurt, that you were limping, or you were kind of wincing in practice and playing worse and worse week to week basis, and still not putting their foot down and saying enough is enough and putting Michael Penix in earlier and saving the season, potentially getting the Falcons into the playoffs. Now in the playoffs, were they going to do anything? Probably not. If anything, they might have won one game in the playoffs and a wild card weekend, and that was it. But at least you get in the playoffs, and you kind of give your young guy the early exposure to the postseason. That could do wonders for his confidence and the team's confidence moving forward with Michael Penix as the quarterback. So anyways, that's the backstory of what happened earlier in the week going into the ping pong night. So we get to the ping pong night, and I show up, and Kirk Cousins is wearing the Falcon shirt. I say, okay, cool. The reason why this matters, because people were telling me that it does not matter, and it's because you don't get it. If you aren't in the room, you are in the room. I get it. So last season, I covered the same thing, the ping pong tournament. It had Saquon. Saquon was actually in it. Saquon Barkley. Saquon was everywhere, bro. Saquon last Super Bowl week, the last year in Las Vegas, he was everywhere. He did the ping pong little thing. He was on Radio Row, and he went to literally every single little media station at Radio Row, bro. Like, his agent was working him. I ran into Saquon probably like 3-4 times just walking through hotels, walking to another hotel because someone was like, yeah, this hotel got this food. I said, okay, bet, let me try it. So I, walk over to the hotel. I see Saquon, and I said, what the heck? I'm seeing Saquon about 3-4 times a day. I guess it was foreshadowing. Anyways, back to the story. So, ping pong, right? Every team wears their own team colors. You wear your team's logo on the t-shirt. That's what it is. It's a partnership with the people with the paper towels and stuff like that. Say it's Bounty. I forgot it. Charmin, whatever the company name is, right? You got that company plus the NFL plus whoever's broadcasting it. So this year, they had Speedy in them. They had Speedy and Complex hosting the event. They had Taylor Rooks as a celebrity talent, participating in it. So they had half celebrities and influencers, half NFL athletes. Last year, it was just all NFL athletes with the Turner people hosting and stuff like that. So this was a bit different this year. So we getting into it, right? Kirk Cousins is out there in a Falcon shirt. Every other player, it was not Daniel Jones. Who's the Mac Jones. Mac Jones was out there. I believe Mac Jones was in a Jaguar shirt, right? Micah Parsons, he's out there in a Dallas Cowboys shirt. Everybody's in their team shirts. Chris Olave's in a New Orleans Saints shirt, and Kirk Cousins. So all these fellas are out there in their team shirts, and then they have lockers behind them with their last names and the logo and the jersey and helmet, the whole setup like it's a regular locker room as the backdrop of the studio of the broadcast. They did the same thing last year in Vegas with Trevor Lawrence, Saquon Barkley, Jamal Williams, and everybody like that. So we getting into it. I'm kind of looking at Kirk like it's kind of weird because you just like kind of got caught up and went viral for like lying about your injury, and you kind of tanked the Falcon season. And the Falcons already said going into the offseason, they were ready to kind of cut ties with your contract and stuff like that before, they took too much of a hit and it became guaranteed in March 1st, whatever the case was, with the details of the contract. Right. So I'm looking at kind of weird. He kind of looking at me and, it's kind of, I'm saying, when you see the same people over and over in the city, like I was covering the Falcons, I was in the city before I moved over in the middle of the year. He recognized me. Okay, this is an Atlanta person. Already he sees D-Led there. D-Led, for those of y'all who don't know, Daryl Ledbetter, Georgia Sports Writer of the Year. He's been a long time Atlanta Falcons AJC beat reporter. So he already knows D-Led's there. He sees me. He like, oh, Atlanta people are here. Okay, so he's kind of looking at me. He's kind of like, like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, that's what's going. We got media people here from Atlanta specifically. So Kirk, in the middle of the competition, excuse me, you have some rounds where you're just out there, and then you have other rounds where other teams are out there or other players are out there playing, and then you could slip to the back real quick. So I think Taylor Rooks might have slipped to the back real quick because she knew about the Jimmy Butler trade when I approached her, and the Jimmy Butler trade happened during the tournament. So then Kirk Cousins went to the back. Kirk Cousins come back from the back, and he takes off his Falcon shirt. It's just a black shirt. He just has on a blank black shirt now. I don't know if it's inside out and it was another Falcon shirt or that was his undershirt, but he just has on a blank black shirt now. I think that's worthy of note. I took the picture. I'm about to tweet it. I did not tweet it. You know why? Because I'm like, Kirk Cousins is right here. It's an intimate setting. It's not even worth potentially going viral off of anyway. I could be patient with this and just approach the man himself afterwards. So I say, okay, I'm gonna approach Kirk Cousins and show him the tweet and say, hey man, like why'd you do this? Like, what's going on? So I can add the explanation in the post, right? I did the same thing with when I announced Chiney Nwumake's retirement. When she announced it at NABJ, I waited to the end of the panel and I approached her and I showed her the post of what I was about to tell her. And I said, yo, is it okay if I post this? She called her agent. Her agent gave me about 5-minute runaround. And they said, yes, you got the green light to post it. You can post it. And I posted it. And that's how I announced Chiney Nwumake's retirement. Anyways, back to Kirk Cousins. That's just a fair way to do things. You clear things with people. That's just how you move. I got morals. So the tournament ends. Kirk Cousins gone. Kirk Cousins, the first person out the building, boy. Kirk Cousins not even there to take the pictures with the rest of the participants and the P&G, that's the company. And the P&G folks, the sponsors of the event, just so you know, peel the curtain back. All of these events and everything that you see on TV or anything like that, anything with a fancy background and broadcasting and stuff like that, it's from a corporate sponsor, right? So it's like the reason why Jake from State Farm was I said this before, Jake from State Farm and Travis Scott were at Caitlin Clark's last home game, regular season game at Iowa, right? It's because Caitlin Clark was with Nike and Caitlin Clark was with State Farm. So that's what happened, right? So these are the things, man. So we going like this, right? Okay. At P&G, you taking a picture with them. You have to smile. You have to kiss the babies. Remember the Travis Hunter event with the Adidas, and he was taking the pictures, and the girl and his girlfriend was like, "Oh, do I have to stay here the whole time?" And he cleared that up on what it actually was and stuff like that. And the clip was taken out of context. You have to smile and you have to take pictures and you have to oblige to whatever the sponsor says, because the sponsor and the corporate business, whatever it is that's involved, that's where your money comes from. So to miss the picture with the P&G partners and the official sponsor of the event, the big corporate people, that's a big deal. Joker was gone before they even took that picture and gathered around, because the media and everybody started approaching and starting talking to folks participated in the event. So Kirk Cousins already gone. He the first person out the door. I see Taylor Rooks. I asked Taylor Rooks, can I interview her? And I tell her about the Jimmy Butler trade. She says, I don't really know if we should really touch on that because I don't know all the details. I haven't even looked at my phone for real. I just know that it happened. I said, okay, well, I said that in the interview. You guys see the clip now. If you don't, go to the YouTube shorts to see it. Then I talked to Speedy. Speedy, how you doing? Good to see you again, my brother. He said, likewise. I said, can I do the interview? He said, I don't do interviews, but I got you since we go way back. Speedy did the interview. W Speedy. Shout out Speedy Morman. All right. That's the end of that night. That's night 3. Things at this point are starting to heat up because people actually get into town on Thursday.
That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but.
And Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We can't ask Rashad a question.
Hey, Rashad.